Welcome everybody. I'll call the meeting to order at 5:15. Would you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome all. We're going to wait for a little while. It's good to see you all. Mr. Zerlo, would you please read the roll?
Certainly. Mr. Castine.
Present.
Mr. Conroy is asked to be excused. Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Henry.
Here.
Mr. Hughes.
Here.
Mr. Kretzer. Here. Mr. Perrier is asked to be excused this evening. Mr. Potiker.
Here.
Mr. Timmons.
Here.
Ms. Waldron.
Here.
Quorum, Chairman.
Thank you. All legislators have received a copy of the stenographer's minutes of the July 14th, 2020 regular session. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I'll entertain a motion to have the minutes as presented. Motion by Mr. Hall, second by Legislator Kretzer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, we're going to have, I think, a long meeting tonight, so we will try to get this going as fast as we can. On the upside, at this time, I'd like to introduce a special guest. Tonight, we're fortunate to have the Executive Director of New York State Association of Counties, Stephen Aquario, is with us. Mr. Aquario, as you know, anybody's heard Stephen speak before, he always talks about NISAC as your association. It's never NISAC, it's never his, it's always our or your association. And I've always appreciated that about Steve. You know that NISAC and Steve work diligently each and every day to advocate for county government. I don't know that Steve would say this, but I think he has a special place in his heart for Clinton County. He's fair to everybody. But like a parent, you're not supposed to have anybody special, but I think we do. So we've got a good friend, not only in Steve, but we certainly have a great organization in NISAC, and we're grateful for all that they've done with us. Steve does have a remarkable team. They've been on the front lines for the last year and a half. John knows that as well as anybody. So without any further ado, as I say, we got a long meeting. Welcome, Steve. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Chairman Henry. Legislators, thank you for giving me a few minutes on the agenda. Busy night. Wanted to come up and see you, and the chairman knows that I have family from the area here in Clinton, a long time. Cahill Sporting Goods store with my family for decades. And so we have a long, rich history here of Clinton County in Peru and in Clinton County in Plattsburgh. Appreciate it. Spent some time with media today, Wiry earlier today, and the Press Republican. Brought some information to the Press Republican, talked about some of the concerns of the counties. Right now, a lot going on in Albany, big transition period. A lot of concern with what happened down in Albany, and more importantly, does it bring an opportunity for us? What's in it for us? What's in it for the local taxpayers? And so I went through some of the priorities with the Press Republican. Mike Zerlo was with me at that meeting, and I appreciate you coming to that, Mike, and bringing the perspective of the legislature. A couple of budget priorities we talked about with them, some priorities for Clinton and the other counties around the state. Have the state stop taking our sales tax and diverting it. They're diverting our internet sales tax right now for two areas. One, to hospitals, distressed hospitals, which the money never goes to a distressed hospital. It's just being intercepted, going to the state treasury. And two, to pay for local government AIM funding, town, village AIM funding. Just simply wrong. Asking the state, the administration, to stop those two things. Another program I talked about is trying to claw back our Medicaid reconciliation funds. I don't know if you've heard of this, FMAP reconciliation funds. Certainly, I'm sure Mike, our Director Espinoza, has talked about what we're owed here, our social services owed since 2017. Could be a couple of $1 million. That's real money. That's Clinton County's money. Putting heavy pressure on that. But other issues we talked about are COVID with the newspapers and the radio station. We talked about our book that we produced, why that book was important. Some of you may have seen that. What did the counties do? What did the directors of public health do across the state during this pandemic? You know, when I look at your numbers at, say, a daily average, 4.6, 4.5, That's pretty damn good. The rate of infection on a daily basis, very low. You're at a very moderate risk level right now, which is a very solid thing to have as opposed to a moderate risk or a substantial risk. The association put together, I'll just hand this out as a couple of, thank you. Instead of following the straight CDC guidelines, which only deals with the rates of infection, the whole state of New York would be in a high-risk category. So we've developed a better tool, metrics to use, deals with the rated number of infections, but also talks about vaccination rate, how many of our folks are vaccinated. It talks about the hospital capacity, how many are hospitalized, how many ICU beds are being used. This is a better way to look at this situation, to truly show that Clinton County is really in moderate risk right now. And that's really a good thing. I want to compliment you. Your rate of vaccinations, 92, 95% of your 65 plus population vaccinated, 72% of your eligible population vaccinated. Really solid, strong numbers. And Director Canosa and all the great work of the Clinton County Public Health team and staff and administration here and the chairman of the legislature, all the great work that you've done to control this infection and deal with this virus. It just shows how the public is responding.
That doesn't mean we should be complacent, though, right, Rick?
It does not mean we should be complacent. You can't take your foot off the gas pedal right now. We can't go back to where we were. We can't shut this state down again. We shouldn't shut this state down again. We have to continue to do our pods, whatever we can continue to administer in our pods. I don't think the state is going to stand that up again, another mass vaccination clinic. So really going to fall to the county now. Keep educating, keep doing what we've been doing until we fully get through this period of time. Governor gets sworn in, new governor, Monday. Hey, I look at it as an opportunity. The prior administration was a very difficult administration to deal with. Very tough administration, tough to deal with their agencies, tough politics. But that, I look at it now in this transition as an opportunity to work with someone who has county government experience. John Zerlo, your county clerk, knows this incoming governor. She was a county clerk in Erie County, New York, spent many years in local county government, local government, been on the school board. She understands our role. We have met with her. We have discussed policies with her. We look forward to hitting the ground running with her right off the bat. Another quick update here. We're putting out another economic impact report. This is volume 6. Going to talk about COVID, the effect and impact of COVID on our taxable sales activity year to date. We had a major loss of sales tax earlier in the pandemic in 2020, captured a lot back in 2021, but this is going to really do a deeper dive of which types of sectors of the economy suffered. Tourism, hospitality sectors, restaurants, commuters, college students at schools, regional shopping destinations, and things of that nature, and do a report on that. Federal government putting in a lot of funds right now. Mike Zerlo, very involved, Chairman Henry, advocating with Senator Schumer. We got you direct federal money, about $15 million, coming directly.
15.6.
15.6 into Clinton County. We did that. The county's got that first time in the history of federal government relationship dealing directly with local governments and giving aid directly to them. We're working with Mike on the Treasury guidance. Reporting guidance, interim reports are due by August 31st, and we continue to work with the Treasury, getting that information out to you, make sure that you meet these guidelines that are coming by the Treasury Department. Big infrastructure bill right now pending in the United States Senate, narrowly passing with Republican support. Major, another $1 trillion in programs, aviation, another round of airport funding for Plattsburgh Airport, Clinton County Airport, airports, electric vehicle chargers. A lot of emphasis on renewable energy on this infrastructure bill. Battery storage, renewable energy, electric charging stations. So I anticipate a lot more funding coming into the state of New York for electric buses and electric vehicles, electric charging stations, railroads, road bridges, a lot of money coming into the state and to local governments towards modernizing and making some serious improvements in transportation. Lastly, I just wanted to give a quick update and a quick thank you. I understand 6 legislators are going to come to the NISAC conference. That is a big deal for us, an honor to have you with us in Onondaga County in September. I think it's the 13th through the 15th in Onondaga County. A couple of staff members as well, Kim and Mike Zerlo, are going to attend the meeting. Talk about cybersecurity at this conference, cryptocurrency, electric vehicles, attractive and diverse workforce, green energy, cannabis legalization, implementation, social media and press relations, and of course get into the American Rescue Plan and infrastructure. So it's going to be a great conference in Onondaga County. And again, I just wanted to thank you. I just wanted to stand up here and thank all of you for all the great work that you did, and certainly Director Canosa dealing with the COVID pandemic. It's a dark period in our history, this pandemic, but we stood up as counties and fought this thing back. And now it's time to take matters into our own hands and carry on from here. Chair Henry, again, thank you so much for having me here, and I'm available if there's a couple of questions. I know you got a long agenda, but I thank you for having me.
Steve, did you want to just touch upon the opioid?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I made a personal point with the Press Republican on the need for the state to, I'll just say, get its act together on moving these opioid funds to the local governments in the counties. Your county attorney, Kelleher, is right now presently reviewing the proposed settlement by the largest distributors of the opioids, the 3 largest ones, and the Johnson & Johnson proposal and the Purdue proposal. There are 3 defendants that have chosen to offer settlements. The state of New York has accepted those settlements. Your outside counsel has accepted these settlements. The association has reviewed these settlements and has participated in this process since the very beginning 5 years ago of this litigation. Your county attorney right now, County Attorney Kelleher, is reviewing this, and I understand this board will take this matter up in a month from now. We are encouraging you to accept this settlement and proceed. And what I spent some time talking to the Press Republican is there's going to be an abatement fund set up. So there'll be a direct share coming back to Clinton for use of this program. So they are restricted. This is not like tobacco proceeds here. This is restricted for prevention and treatment and recovery programs. But there's an abatement fund that's going to be set up. They passed a law in June, and because of the transition problems in Albany right now, I think we're lagging in getting this thing started. So I put a major emphasis at the Press Republican to get this program up and running. Clinton can apply for grants to this abatement fund, and it's really something that's really needed. During COVID, we saw a lot more substance abuse programs happen because people couldn't get treatment. So thank you, Mike, for reminding me.
Any questions for Steve? He's going to head back to Albany here in a little bit. I imagine he's had a long day, been up here all day long. Any questions at all?
What's Steve's last name? I came in a little late.
Stephen Aquario.
Aquario, and what do you do?
I'm the Executive Director of the New York State Association of Counties.
Okay.
Thank you.
Stephen, thank you very much. It's very nice to see you. Thanks for coming up.
Thanks, Legislature. Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
I will now recognize those in the audience who wish to share their thoughts and concerns with the legislature. Please raise your hand if you wish to be recognized. State your name, your address for the record, and as always, remarks will be limited to 5 minutes or less. Yes, sir.
Tom Donahue, Sarah
Would you step up to the mic, please?
I will.
Podium, sorry.
My name is Tom Donahue, and I'm from Saranac. And I am the president of 1814 Commemoration, Inc. We are the new group that was established a couple years ago when the city decided they were no longer going to do the Battle of Plattsburgh commemoration. And unlike the city that had a budget of over $60,000 to present this, we are a 501c3, and our budget started with 0 this year. So we're in the process of trying to raise enough money to put on the commemoration this year. So far, we've established about 1/3 of our anticipated budget. And I'm here because we're in need of help. We currently have a great opportunity. We partnered with the William G. Pomeroy Foundation, and with a grant that they will match up to $10,000 if we can raise $10,000 by September. Right now, we're about halfway there. We're still in need of another $5,000. And the reason I'm here is I'm pulling out all the strings to hopefully not let that opportunity go to waste. Battle Plattsburgh weekend is going to be September 9th through the 12th this year. We're starting out over at the Valcourt Brewing Company. We're going to move it over to that end of the city so we get all the people involved. It's always been a big tourism draw in the city, and it helps bring funds in not just to the city, but all the businesses around here, and the establishments, the hotels, gas stations, restaurants, and they all benefit, as does the county, from the taxes that go with that when the people show up. We've had a big turnout. There's been a lot of interest this year of people wanting to get out and do things again. We've put together a great program. I think you have copies of it. We have all the traditional events that we've had in the past, the music, the food, the entertainment, and we have a special recognition here this year of all of our veterans, our 9/11 remembrances, and especially our frontline employees that helped us through the terrible year we had just a year ago. Why have I come here tonight? I'm basically asking that, well, let me put it this way. The vision of our organization is not to have the Battle of Plattsburgh just be Plattsburgh. The battle may have happened here, but the people that participated in it, the militias and the regular army, they came from all the different townships in the county. And our vision is to, in the future, make the Battle of Plattsburgh a community event that each of those entities has a part in. And this is our first year, and I come here today to ask you if there's any way that you can help us in attaining the funds to meet that matching donation from the Pomeroy Corporation. I'm not aware of what might or might not be available. I know that there was that tobacco settlement money. I don't know if you have a tourism budget or any other source that could help us out. This is what my ask is today. I really thank you for allowing me to come here and make that ask. If you can help us in any way, it would greatly be appreciated. If there's any questions you have for me while I'm here, I'm glad to answer them, but I wanted to get in front of you, let you know who I am. I'm going to be around for a while, so we'd like to make the first year successful and move on after that, make it better each year. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions?
I apologize if this was discussed. I understand the request. Is there a time limit?
Yes.
Yeah, we have to have a matching, I believe it's September 9th, the actual date, first day of our commemoration. They'll give us to that date to match the $10,000 or generate the $10,000 that they will match. So.
And I'm sorry, Chairman. My other question would be: are you seeking this portions of this match from other folks as well?
Yes, we've been asking our sponsors, and we've applied for grants. Unfortunately, grants are very long-term before they get any recognition back, whether we're going to actually get any or not. So, like I said earlier, I'm kind of almost embarrassed to be here, but I'm pulling out all the strings just so we can try to make this work. So
They've already secured 5,000.
Right. From the
No, they're matching.
no, we've
10,000.
already gained, we've raised 5,000 so far, but we need to raise 10. So.
Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. What we will do, the way this normally works,
Okay.
is I recognize you're under a fairly short timeline, but we will refer this request to our Economic Development Committee. We will take that under consideration, and we'll see what they have. That's led by Legislator Waldron, and we'll see what develops.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. Gotta go do some.
Absolutely.
Thank you. There was someone else who wished. Yes, ma'am.
I'll be in touch.
When you get up there, name and address, please.
Yep, you got it. Yes, good evening. My name's Beth Ashburner. I live at 20 Lynn Street in
Could you
Plattsburgh.
put the mic just a little closer to yourself, please?
How's that? Better?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
It's the mask. I'll take it off if I can.
No, well, it's entirely up to you.
Perfect. It's much easier to speak without the mask. Well, I'm going to start with the first thing that I just want to say. I know I have 5 minutes, but I just want to do a quick quote. Two moral abilities are particularly important for living together in a democracy. Firstly, the ability for all citizens to judge and to act in accordance with their own moral principles. Secondly, the ability to solve conflicts by means of fear-free discussion instead of the use of violence and the exercise of power. That was done by George Lynn. Lynn, he is actually a person who studies logic and democracy. I happened to stumble upon the newspaper that said you were meeting here today. Of particular importance to me, being a over 30-year nurse with clinical research behind me, I wanted to know about the award for the COVID-19 testing for both the schools and for the health department. There were questions I had surrounding the PCR test. First of all, the PCR test has been recalled as of July 21st, 2021, because the testing, the RT-PCR for COVID-2 testing, this is right on the Center for Disease Control, so I have a copy for you, you can reference it online. They pulled that, so I'm curious, first of all, to know what reference we're replacing this with, since they have now discontinued the use of the CDC CT-PCR for COVID-2 testing. So therefore, you don't have a test if there is no way to conduct a test, so why would you be buying more tests, first of all? Secondly, the reason that the test was recalled was because, and this is on the FDA site, the FDA pulled the testing for the PCR test. And why was that? It was basically because at the time that they came up with the real RT-PCR diagnostic panel to determine that there was virus, what they found was that they had no virus to isolate. The COVID-19 were available for the CDC at the time of testing was developed in the study. And it says the assays designed for detection of the COVID-2 RNA test was actually a computer simulation to mimic the test. The test was never isolated. FOIA requests from around the world, including Canada and the United States, and I have that gentleman's name here. Hold on. Regardless, he's part of the Centers for Disease Control. Since I have 5 minutes, I'm not going to go through my paperwork. But regardless, what's happened here is that a scientific research document was created in order to create this RT-PCR diagnostic panel for detection of the SARS-2 or COVID-19 virus. Right now, I think it's here, that the reason that the PCR test doesn't work is that it does not meet the Koch and Rivers standards, gold standards in the world that scientifically isolates viruses. No one has ever isolated, purified, scientifically verified, proven the existence of any or all viruses at time and place in the world. There are FOIA requests from around the world, just so you know. The United States, Australia, the United Kingdom, from around the world. I don't have to go on. The data is here. We have the letters. We have our letters from our own CDC stating that there is no virus isolated. So therefore, when you use a PCR machine, just so you know, you have a qualitative finding. And a qualitative finding just says that you found something. Whether it's false or positive, That's what you got. So what do we do in healthcare with a positive PCR finding? What we do is we do a qualitative. And there is no qualitative for this test to verify that a virus even exists, much less whether or not it's influenza or this SARS-CoV-2. So therefore, I want to know what you're deciding to purchase and waste the taxpayers' money on for something that has actually now been kiboshed as of the 21st of July by the FDA, telling the CDC to discontinue the use by the end of December. So I want to know exactly what's going on here. And you should too. Because what happened? What happened in the 1940s when the good Nazis didn't do anything? You know, do you want that on your shoulders that you're perpetrating this fraud? There is no isolated COVID-2. Right now, Rainer Fulmich is an attorney in Germany and in California, has started the Corona Commission, and they are actually working on crimes against humanity in a tribunal across the world. This isn't poppycock. I can give you all the information that you need. As a research person, I find this really interesting.
One more minute, ma'am, if you want to sum up.
I just want to know what we're doing here. I want to know what this county is spending their money on. I want to know about this, 552 and 553 that they're purchasing for schools. What's going on here, people?
Okay, thank you.
That's what I want to know.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We will refer your questions.
I have handouts for you,
I'll take them, I'll take them.
Okay.
and it's for everyone, and it shows the FDA and the CDC
You bring
findings.
them right up here, or give them to Mike.
And this right here is the diagnostic test when it was initially done in June, and that's how they established their PCR.
Thank you. We will refer that and your questions to the Clinton County Health Department. I'm sure they'll be able to come up with an answer for all.
I doubt it.
Well, I don't know. I've got a lot of confidence in them. They proved themselves pretty well.
Okay,
Thank you.
it goes to the
Anybody else?
CDC and the FDA.
Anyone else? Going once, going twice. Okay. As soon as Michael gets here, we'll go to committee reports. Go ahead. Are we ready, sir? Yep. All right. Committee reports. We will start as always with building and grounds and legislative minutes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting scheduled for Monday, August 9th was canceled. James Cleveland, the Superintendent of Buildings and Grounds, reported the department has completed expanding the file storage area in the District Attorney's office. Mr. Cleveland also reported on Tuesday, August 17th, there was a pre-construction meeting for the upcoming Government Center roof replacement project. The project is anticipated to start at the end of September. The committee was pulled on resolutions 527 and 528 on today's agenda. Next Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting is scheduled for Monday, September 20th at 4:30 p.m. in the report.
Thank you, sir. Children and Family Services, Legislator Potter.
Thank you, Chairman. The Children and Family Services Committee met on Tuesday, August 3rd. John Redden, the Commissioner of Social Services, was present to discuss several resolutions, including authorizing contract with Clinton County Office for the Aging. Mr. Redden also discussed the Family First Prevention Act and the enhanced federal medical assistance percentage reconciliation that is due to Clinton County. Resolutions 529 through 534 have been placed on the agenda as a result of the committee's recommendations. The next Children and Family Services Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, September 7th at 7:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Economic Development, County Operations, Legislator Walden.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Economic Development and County Operations Committee met on Wednesday, August 11th. Mary Dyer, the Democratic Commissioner, and Hunter Sardwell, the Deputy Commissioner, were present to discuss resolutions authorizing early voting, expansion grant acceptance, and authorizing technology innovation and election resource grant program acceptance. Resolutions 535 through 538 have been placed on today's agenda as a result of the committee's recommendation. The next Economic Development and County Operations meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, September 8th at 4.
Thank you, Matt. Finance, legislator Jennings.
Yes, the Finance Committee met on Wednesday, August 4th, as his last official duty as president of Clinton Community College. Ray D. Pasquale was present to discuss the college's 21-22 budget request. Representatives from Lumsden and McCormick presented findings on the county's 2020 audit. The county received a clean audit for 2020. Rebecca Murphy, the Deputy County Treasurer, was present to provide reports on sales tax, occupancy tax, the correction of errors report, and a resolution authorizing the county treasurer to write off uncollectible weights and measurement invoices. Glenn Cutter, the planning director, was also present to update the committee on the broad-based manual. No action was taken on the proposal. Resolutions 539 through 545 have been placed on the agenda as a result of the committee's recommendation. The committee was also pulled on resolutions 546, 547, and 611 under waiver rule 13.2 on today's agenda. The next Finance Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, September 1st at 5:15 p.m.
Thank you. Health, legislator Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Health Committee met on Wednesday, August 4th. John Canosa, Director of Public Health, was present, as was Rochelle Gregory, the Director of Community Services, to discuss authorizing a contract for complete property management. Resolutions 548 through 553 have been placed on today's agenda as a result of the committee's recommendation. The committee was also pulled on Resolution 609 and 610 under waiver rule 13.2. I was going to provide a brief summary on the COVID-19 cases and vaccination, but we're fortunate enough to have Mr. John Canosa, Director of Public Health, here to do it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Legislator Hughes. Brief updates include case numbers. Today we had, from yesterday I should say, we're always a day behind, of course, 5 new lab confirmed cases yesterday, 2 the day before, being Monday. This weekend was quite busy. A lot of test results tend to come in on the weekends, so they tend to be busier than most of the weekdays. Over the weekend, we had 8 new positive cases on Friday, 4 on Saturday, and another 4 on Sunday. All that being considered, the numbers I just read to you are low to moderate, not too bad. Not too bad. I can't say that for my fellow peer counties next door. They're not faring as well right now. They're having a lot more social activities. They have a lot more people come into their counties, and the biggest attributing factor to these increased cases are, most of the cases are travel related, people going out of town, coming back. But number 2, the Delta variant, no doubt. As you may have noticed, our numbers have been ticking up lately, last 2 or 3 weeks, and we know right now, just by the contact tracing that we do with the people who are positives and their contacts, that we know who's vaccinated. Are you vaccinated? That's one of the questions. Or are you not vaccinated? And from that information, we had a total of, I believe, 34, approximately 42% of our active cases over the last 30 days were breakthrough cases. They were previously vaccinated, okay? So now that tends to be a little higher than reported across the United States, but I believe our numbers are quite accurate simply because we have to ask that question. We do the contact tracing, so it's real, handwritten, documented data for that. So, some of these cases that we've had, especially the 42% that I'm talking about that have been vaccinated, the breakthrough cases, were asymptomatic. A lot of the people didn't even know they had it. Their symptoms were mild to moderate. And some of these cases, none of these cases, I should say, required long-term hospitalization. A couple of people did go to the ER, but they were discharged within a 24 to 36-hour period, which is what we want This is telling us one big, very important thing. The vaccine is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Keeping you from getting very sick, deathly sick, winding up in the hospital on a respirator, and being in the hospital for a long time. That is the primary goal, and for that I'm grateful. So, other information that we do have, vaccinations update. We continue to provide vaccinations every Thursday in our upstairs, second floor, large conference room up there for the public that wish to register to come in and get a shot. We're also doing little clinics, mobile clinics we call them. We did the fair. We were there for 3 or 4 days, and we only vaccinated 17 people, but those 17 people were very gracious and appreciative for getting those shots, and the fair was very happy to have us out there in the former 4-H building. So it went very well. We just wish we could have got more people vaccinated. We're looking at clinics coming up for SUNY Plattsburgh, as you can understand, with them starting up pretty soon. A host of clinics for them, for not only the international students coming on campus first, but then on campus remainder of students that haven't been vaccinated. Recall, it is a requirement that if you go to SUNY Plattsburgh, any SUNY school for that matter, you need to be vaccinated. So we're going to be working really hard with them with a lot of little clinics. We're looking at local migrant labor camp vaccinations coming up. We have up to 700 coming in the first wave of migrants coming into our county. We want to get them vaccinated. Testing, as you know, CVH operations at the state testing site on the base, New York Road. They ceased operations back in July. We had to pick up some of the slack. Our providers are also picking up the slack for testing. The hospital still remains doing a lot at their facility, and they're thinking of moving perhaps back into the wellness center out there, because they don't want to be doing the testing there at the mother campus for obvious reasons. But we are picking up the testing for specifically underinsured, uninsured, those without a primary care physician. If you are symptomatic, we try to get that person that calls us to go see their doctor. You know why? They're going to have to go see their doctor anyway because they're symptomatic for obvious reasons. So everything else, we're getting ready for, in about 2 or 3 weeks from now, school's going to start, K through 12. And we're looking at starting testing in schools specifically to respond to what the ladies had mentioned before. The testing that we will be doing through SUNY Upstate Quadrant Biosciences Lab is qPCR testing. I did a quick read of her pamphlets that she handed out. It's not exactly the same, but as you can understand, there's a lot of testing going in. That testing is rapid testing. The testing that we're doing requires 2 to 3 days to get the test results. It's not rapid. Test samples have to be delivered to the laboratory for testing at the facility. Rapid implies you're doing it either at your home, you can buy these kits, at the pharmacy, or you're doing them perhaps at the school. And that has a benefit to give you a handle on likely, they're not always accurate, likely positives versus negatives, but guess what? You always need a PCR test, specifically a qPCR test, to follow up to confirm either negative or positive. So I was kind of addressing the ladies' terminology, but I will pass that information on to our 2 successful laboratory bidders for both general public testing. We're doing about, I think 5 a week. We've done 15 over 3 weeks, and also K through 12 testing for the kids. We're going to do 10, 20% every week or every 2 weeks. That'll be finalized when the state gives me their marching orders. So, and finally, in closing, we have a media conference on Thursday, 8/19, 11 o'clock in the Emergency Services Amphitheater, where we will have Dr. Alexander Yeti come in to talk, Dr. Mark Davey from CVES, and as I understand, Dr. Keith Collins from CVPH, so that's good. So that's all I have. Anybody have any questions?
Yes, sir. John, have you heard anything or been notified of anything on the booster shots?
I can give you my opinion. I think it's worth 75 cents on the dollar. I think it's coming. We know it's coming. We're hearing more chatter. A memo came from Commissioner Public Health Zucker today, which means they're waiting for the feds to make their decision. New York State will make their decision. That's a big undertaking. It's coming. Okay, we already have approval for the immunocompromised, and I talked to a couple people already on the phone, giving them guidance. Okay. But the next step is boosters for all currently vaccinated people. It's coming. If I got to put a bet down, I'm going to say October, November. Just because it's such a huge undertaking You know, the immunocompromised can be accommodated by primary care physicians as well as us.
Do you think we'll go back to vaccination sites?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping if we got to do this, quite frankly, I've already put the word out, calling all cars. I told Eric Day, talk to your state buddies, because we can't do this alone. So either the state's going to have to amp up, which doesn't sound too good from Mr. Aquario, but then it's got to be, who's got to be the primary care physicians. They're going to have to ramp it up, just like they do for flu shots, you know? And he did mention that we have 90-something% of our seniors vaccinated. We kind of knew that was coming because we have a good vaccination rate for our seniors when it comes to the flu shot. You know, our seniors do the right thing. I couldn't be happier for them, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
On that note, we will continue to ask that question through NISAC and obviously you
Yeah.
through your association.
Yeah,
But my sense is, from what you heard is we're gonna, as you and I talked yesterday, I believe, we're gonna have to come up with at least a plan
Yeah.
that the county will participate in along with other providers.
yes.
Josh and then
Sure. Are we still receiving any J&J vaccines?
J&J, no, we haven't been. We currently don't have any, and I don't think it looks too good for we're gonna have any. So J&J is right now tough to get. I don't know if that's just for the North Country or across the state. We're Pfizer and Moderna right now. And every time we get a shipment, we're on a 14 to 28 day window to use up what we've got, because then it goes towards expiration.
I just love the idea of the one time for the college students.
I know, Dr. Camello would agree with you on that one. So, no, can't get it, no?
Thank you.
Yep.
oh, I'm sorry, Rick.
John, on the break, you mentioned the breakthrough cases, but you also asked the question, have they been prior positive? Have they
Yes.
had COVID?
Yes.
and given a
Is this
second
your
shot?
first time getting COVID? Is it your second? Yes, yes.
And
We go through a whole myriad of 25, 30 questions every time we have it's pretty arduous work, you know.
do you have
going through it.
a percentage of those?
No, I do not, off the top of my head. I'm just, my biggest concern is those breakthroughs that are occurring right now. Fortunately, as I said, they're not winding up deathly ill, sickly, or in the hospital. But that's the value of the shot, you know, but they're still occurring. That Delta variant, it's a humdinger, I'll tell you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Mr. Hughes, back to you.
The health committee meeting, the next health committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, September 1st at 4:15. End of report.
Thank you, Mike. Human Services Committee, Legislative period, Michael, you have that.
Yes, on behalf of Legislative Berea, the Human Services Committee meeting scheduled for Tuesday, August 3rd is canceled. And the next Human Services Committee is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, September 7th at 4:15 p.m.
Thank you very much. Personnel, I'll do that. The Personnel Committee met on Monday, August 2nd. Resolutions 554 through 571 have been placed on today's agenda as a result of the committee's recommendations, and the next Personnel Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Thursday, September 9th at 4 p.m. Plattsburgh International Airport, Legislator Hall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Plattsburgh International Airport Committee met earlier today. Chris Craig, the airport director, was present to provide an update on the runway closure project and the New York State Upstate Airport Initiative. Resolutions 572 through 579 have been placed on the agenda upon the recommendation of the committee, as well as resolutions 612 and 613 under Waive Rule 13-2. The next Plattsburgh International Airport Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, September 22nd at 4 p.m. End of report.
Thank you, sir. Public Safety, Legislator Caston.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Public Safety Committee met on Monday, August 2nd. Sheriff Favreau was present to discuss the purchase of 3 new vehicles for the department. Jamie Rock, the administrative assistant at the Child Advocacy Center, was present to discuss several resolutions, including authorizing contract with University of Vermont Health Network Medical Group. Chad Dean, the town coroner, was also present to discuss the purchase of a new case management system. Resolutions 580 through 586 have been placed on the agenda as a result of the committee's recommendations. The next Public Safety Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Thursday, September 9th at 5 p.m. and a report.
Thank you. And Transportation, Legislator Cresser.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Transportation Committee met on Monday, August 9th. Shannon Thayer, the planning technician, was present to discuss the introduction of visually verified tickets and the removal of city fare zones. Carl Weiss, the highway superintendent, was also in attendance to discuss several resolutions, including authorizing contract with Clinton Abstract Company, Inc., and authorizing the purchase of a 2022 Ford F-650 crew cab with a dump body. Resolutions number 587 through number 593 have been placed on today's agenda upon the recommendation of the committee, and the next Transportation Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, September 20th at 5:15 p.m., and that's the end of the report.
Liaison reports, Board of Health, we just had one from John. Chamber of Commerce, Legislator Potter.
The chamber breakfast was moved due to a golf outing, so I was on vacation, wasn't able to attend that. And there's no new information regarding the opening of the northern border at this time.
Other than we, the chamber and associated chambers are obviously putting a last-ditch effort into hoping that the news on the 21st of August, which is the current closure deadline, is not extended. So we are hopeful and working towards that extension being or not extended, that date not being.
Cooperative Extension, Legislator Timmons.
Yes, the 4-H groups did not attend the fair this year. They did send static exhibits only, which I think at this point, with the variant that's out there, probably a good choice on Mary's back now choice. They're still holding some in-person stuff, but she was even looking to open up some of the guidelines, and again, has decided to not do that with everything going on right now. And we are still looking for a replacement for Mary's director position. She gets done at the end of the year. We didn't have anybody from the local area that they felt really positive on the position, and looking to possibly start looking outside the area to fill it. So if you know anybody that may have capabilities that are local that hasn't reached out, please do. I'd be ashamed to let this go out of the area. But she is done the end of the year, so time is ticking. And the report.
Thank you, sir. Let's see, just some review, nothing, right, Ken? Agreements, nothing. Intercounty, Legislator Wall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we did meet at Gore Mountain last month. And our presenter was from Orta and discussed at length the 2023 World Cup games coming to our region. And when I say region, the venues will be in Potsdam, Gore Mountain, with the majority of them in Lake Placid. And the amount of infrastructure going into these games is pretty tremendous. And there's 60 countries coming in to our airport, actually. So they feel this is more significant than the actual Olympics, which I found interesting. A lot of you will be here. God willing.
That's our question. LCLG Regional Planning Board, Legislators Kretzer or Hughes.
No report, we have.
Is that true, Josh?
Absolutely.
Soil and Water, Legislator Timmons.
Yes, we've had 2 tire recycling so far this summer. They're looking to possibly do a couple more even towards the fall time. Doing a lot of work on soil erosions for roadsides, and also quite a few things going on in different farms, different grants. We are going to be hiring another technician. We had one that left us right before COVID hit. He felt that it was smart to not fill the position with everything going on. But things are getting busier now. And one of the part-time technicians that we had this summer shows interest, shows good work ethic, and he is going to be looking to possibly hire one of them. So hopefully if that goes as well, we'll be back up to full speed.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, Workforce Development Board, Legislator Kretzer.
I do not have an update. However, Executive Director Sylvia Nelson has asked if she would be able to come in to kind of give a state of our regional workforce development area sometime in September.
I believe I gave her both dates.
You did,
So
okay.
I actually think she selected one.
Okay,
I think-
okay,
yeah.
perfect. And she's out of town, so, perfect, thank you.
Let's see, reports. Mr. Favreau, you do not have one, is that correct?
Yes, correct, Mr. Chairman. No report.
Okay, and Mr. Zerl?
Nothing other than I've invited former Deputy County Administrator and hopefully new contracted gentleman, Rodney Brown, to participate in an executive session this evening to discuss some issues surrounding sale and lease of real property.
Okay. Thank you. I gave my time to Mr. Aquario, so we'll move on to our standard. Before voting on the resolutions, I want to note that the majority of the resolutions have been thoroughly discussed by the appropriate committees, and the legislature is taking action tonight based in large part by the recommendation of those committees. Mr. Zerlo, please read the rules of, the titles of the resolutions.
Certainly. Resolution 527, amending Resolution 659, dated November 10, 2020, titled, Authorizing Contract with the New York State Unified Court System, Buildings and Grounds.
Motion, Legislator Timmons, second, Legislator Henry. Discussion.
So obviously, I'm sorry, Chairman, the recontract with the state, we had anticipated doing X number of projects on the state's behalf that they pay 100% for. They've indicated that they would like to do less of that work, and as such, we need to amend this resolution downward. So it's our people will now be free to work on county or portions of the county facility as close to the court system.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Yeah, Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walden?
Yes.
Resolution 528, authorizing contract with Chimera Integrations, Buildings and Grounds.
Motion, Legislator Timmons, second, Legislator Henry. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 529, authorizing contract with Evergreen Townhouse Community Social Services.
Motion, Legislator Boddicker, second, Legislator Kretzer. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 530, authorizing supervision and treatment services for juveniles, plan funds, application and acceptance, social services.
Motion, Legislator Boddicker, second, Legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 531, authorizing contract with Youth Advocate Program Incorporated Social Services.
Motion, Legislator Boddicker, second, Legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 532, authorizing contract with the Joint Council for Economic Opportunity, Social Services.
Motion, Legislator Boddicker, second, Legislator Kretzer. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 533, authorizing contract with Clemson County Office for the Aging, Social Services.
Motion, Legislator Boddicker, second, Legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 534, authorizing the Youth Bureau to file an application for state aid for youth development program allocations and authorizing various contracts.
Motion, Legislator Boddicker, second, Legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 535, authorizing payment of 2022 membership dues, weights and measures.
Motion, Legislator Waldron, second, Legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 536, authorizing Clinton County Foreign Trade Zone Number 54 Site Operating Agreement, Legislature.
Motion, Legislator Waldron, second, Legislator Boddicker. Discussion.
For those of you who don't know, we have a foreign trade zone, number 54, in Clinton County. And we had an operating agreement with I'll butcher this, Ken. So, we had one, no, we had one with Swarovski. And Schoenbeck has been purchased, as we discussed, by WAC Lighting. The new company is actually called W. Schoenbeck LLC. We needed to amend our operating agreement to reflect the change in ownership.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 535, authorizing early voting expansion grant acceptance, Board of Elections.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Great. Resolution 538, authorizing technology, innovation, and election resource grant program acceptance, Board of Elections.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Timmons. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 539, authorizing the county treasurer to write off uncollectible weights and measures invoices, weights and measures.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Castine. Discussion?
I just want to let the legislature know, when we discussed this in committee, there was one of the uncollectibles that we were going to try to get removed. I, in fact, got it removed, and we received that money, so there's one less on here than there was.
Roll call?
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walden?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 540, authorizing the clerk of the Clemson County Legislature to advertise for a public hearing on the 2021-2022 Clinton Community College budget, Clinton Community College.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Henry. Discussion?
Just to remind everybody that the public hearing will be on September 8th, and hopefully the resolution to adopt the community college budget is also on the agenda. And John, I will butcher the new title, but John Powell actually is with us this evening. Administrator in charge.
Yes.
Is that what we're going with? So John, thanks for being here, and we kindly request your presence at the public hearing.
Absolutely, I'll be there.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I'd scoot if I were you.
Thank you.
But you can stay.
Resolution 541, authorizing contract with Policy Find Legislature.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Hall. Discussion? Roll call?
Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 542, authorizing retainer agreement with Goldberg Segala LLP Legislature.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 543, authorizing contract with Rodney L. Brown Legislature.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Kretzer. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Resolution 544, authorizing contract amendment with Casella Waste Management of New York Purchasing.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Boddicker. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 545, authorizing contract with BMO Harris Bank N.A. Legislature.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Boddicker. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 546, adopting a credit card policy Legislature.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Waldron. Discussion?
Just want to say that I think we sent everybody the policy for your review. The policy has been vetted by the county attorney, as well as purchasing, as well as the treasurer's office. So now we want to begin very slowly with this. The policy is very, very strict. I imagine this will not be the last time we adopt a credit card policy as we evolve over the years, unacceptable uses and such. It may have to be amended, but we need this policy in place for auditing purposes to begin the process.
It's a big step for you.
I know.
I know it's cringing when we got to this.
Held out for 19 years.
Although there was some advantage to that. For us, I mean, not for you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 547, authorizing the county treasurer to decrease appropriation and corresponding revenue for the capital project title, rehabilitation of runway 1735 pavement phase 2 construction, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Hall, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 548, authorizing contract with Complete Property Management, Mental Health and Addiction.
Motion, legislator Hughes, second, legislator Castine, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 549, authorizing contract with Ruger Self Storage Health Department.
Motion, legislator Hughes, second, legislator Kretzer, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 550, authorizing contract with Pelitask Incorporated Health Department.
Motion, legislator Hughes, second, legislator Waldron, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 551, authorizing contract with Healthy Incorporated Health Department.
Motion, legislator Hughes, second, legislator Castine, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 552, awarding bid for various COVID-19 testing contractors for primary and secondary schools, Health Department.
Motion, legislator Hughes, second, legislator Kretzer, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 553, awarding bid for various COVID-19 testing contractors for the general public health department.
Motion, legislator Hughes, second, legislator Waldron, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Did you work as deputy? An unauthorized person.
Resolution 554, approving appointment of Director of Veteran Service Agency, Veteran Service Agency.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Hall, discussion. Also, I'd like to point out that Kevin is with us here tonight. Welcome again. Glad to hear you, or hear you, glad to see you.
Don't screw up.
Excellent place. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Congratulations. Resolution 555, approving backfill of permanent full-time veterans counselor position, Veteran Services.
Motion, legislator Hall, second, legislator Timmons, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 556, approving backfill of permanent part-time custodial worker position, Plattsburgh International.
Motion. Hold on a second. I made a mistake. Motion, legislator Hall, second, legislator Timmons, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 557, approving backfill of permanent full-time social worker 1 position, mental health and addiction.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Castine, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 558, approving backfill of permanent full-time account clerk typist position, mental health and addiction.
Motion, legislator Henry, second, legislator Hall, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 559, approving creation of permanent full-time public health educator position, health department.
Motion, legislator Hall, second, legislator Timmons, discussion.
So just to be clear, this is one of those that we need to create to put a person in, and once a employee passes their civil service requirements, that position will be abolished, so it's not an FTE increase to the county.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 560, approving backfill of permanent part-time motor equipment operator 1, solid waste.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Waldron, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 561, approving reclassification of a permanent full-time motor equipment operator 2 down to a permanent full-time motor equipment operator 1 position with backfill solid waste.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Castine, Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution 562, approving creation of a permanent full-time central services clerk position, central services.
Motion,
Central stores.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Hall. Discussion?
Just make reference to the last resolve clause, same situation as I previously discussed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 563, approving replacement of permanent part-time environmental service worker position with a permanent full-time environmental services worker position, nursing home.
Motion, legislator Hall, second, legislator Timmons. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 564, approving replacement of permanent part-time dietary attendant position with a permanent full-time dietary attendant position, nursing home.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Waldron. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 565, approving replacement of a permanent part-time dietary attendant position with a permanent full-time dietary attendant position, nursing home.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Castine. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 566, approving extension of a temporary part-time health facility controller position, nursing home.
Motion, legislator Hall, second, legislator Castine. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 567, approving backfill of permanent full-time social welfare examiner position, social services.
Motion, legislator Henry, second, legislator Timmons. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 568, approving backfill of permanent full-time senior social welfare examiner position, social services.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Castine. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 569, approving backfill of permanent full-time social welfare examiner position, social services.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Hall. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 570, approving backfill of a permanent full-time employment and training counselor position, social services.
Motion, legislator Hall, second, legislator Timmons. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 571, approving backfill of permanent full-time deputy sheriff position, sheriff's department.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Waldron. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 572, authorizing environmental mitigation, perimeter fence, and access road removal, construction project grant acceptance, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall, second, legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 573, authorizing acquire snow removal equipment grant acceptance, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall, second, legislator Potiker. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 574, amending Resolution 340, dated May 26, 2021, titled Authorizing Master Services Agreement with CNS Engineers Incorporated for Periodic Professional Services, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall, second, legislator Timmons. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 575, authorizing contract with CNS Engineers Incorporated for mezzanine evaluation in Building 2774, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall, second, legislator Potiker. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 576, authorizing lease agreement with JFP Enterprises Incorporated, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall, second, legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 577, authorizing amendment for CNS Engineers Incorporated Construction Administration and Observation Services Agreement for the reconstruction of runway 1735 pavement Phase 2 construction, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall, second, legislator Potiker. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 578, authorizing supplemental lease agreement number 2 with the United States of America, Federal Aviation Administration, Plattsburgh International.
Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Timmons. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 579, authorizing other transaction agreement, OTA, grant application and acceptance, Plattsburgh International.
Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 580, authorizing 2020-2021 public safety answering points operation grant application, emergency services.
Motion legislator Castine, second legislator Hall. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 581, authorizing contract with Samaritan Hospital, an affiliate of St. Peter's Health Partners, District Attorney's Office Child Advocacy Center.
Motion legislator Castine, second legislator Potiker. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 582, authorizing contract with St. Regis Mohawk Tribe, District Attorney's Office Child Advocacy Center.
Motion legislator Castine, second legislator Waldron. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 583, authorizing contract with the University of Vermont Health Network Medical Group, District Attorney's Office Child Advocacy Center.
Motion legislator Castine, second legislator Hall. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 584, authorizing contract amendment with George Huddig, District Attorney's Office Child Advocacy Center.
Motion legislator Castine, second legislator Potiker. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 585, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation from the District Attorney's Federal Justice Seizure Reserve Account, District Attorney's Office.
Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Timmons. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 586, authorizing contract with Coroner M.E., Coroner's Office.
Motion legislator Castine, second legislator Potiker. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 587, authorizing the purchase of a 2022 Ford 650 crew cab with dump body highway.
Motion legislator Kretzer, second legislator Hughes. Discussion?
I just want to let the board know, those of you who are not on Transportation Committee, this is 100% funded by the county's CHIPS allocation and is not levied in property.
And it's replacing, I think, a 1995 vehicle.
And it's being paid for out of CHIPS.
There's no cost to the county.
One more time.
Thanks, man.
Listening after you said it's not a priority. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 588, authorizing Clemson County to accept fee title obtained by the state of New York relative to the New York Route 190 Highway Reconstruction Project, Town of Altona, Clemson County, specifically project identification number 7019.15 highway.
Motion legislator Kretzer, second legislator Potiker. Discussion?
This, the state of New York purchased property to complete a project in the town of Altona. The project is now complete, and the state's desire now is to turn over that land for no consideration to Clemson County.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 589, authorizing contract amendment with Bush Crane Incorporated Highway.
Motion legislator Kretzer, second legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Tibbetts?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 590, authorizing contract with Clinton Abstract Company, Highway Department.
Motion legislator Kretzer, second legislator Potiker. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Tibbetts?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 591, authorizing contract with Clinton Abstract Company, Incorporated, Highway Department.
Motion legislator Kretzer, second legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Tibbetts?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 592, authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state Marchicelli program aid eligible costs of a transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore for the True Brook Road Bridge over True Brook Bridge identification number 335-8320 Highway Department.
Motion, legislator Kretzer, second, legislator Potiker. Discussion.
I'd like to second that as well. Thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Well done. Resolution 593, authorizing implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state Marchicelli program aid eligible costs of a transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore County Route 1 Standish Road Bridge over the Separator Brook Bridge identification number 336-3270 Highway Department.
Why are the titles longer than the resolution?
Because the state of New York mandates that this resolution read exactly how it reads.
Okay. I'm sure that's the way to do it. Motion, legislator Kretzer, second, legislator Hughes. Discussion.
I'd like to second that one as well.
Yes, ma'am. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron? Carried. Resolution 594 has been withdrawn. It was a duplicate resolution. Resolution 595, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Chapel Hill Foundation Incorporated Grant, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 596, authorizing the county treasurer to establish a capital project titled De-icing Pad and Fluid Collection System Design Project, Plattsburgh International.
Are we on
596.
596?
Yes, I missed it.
Did we do 595?
Yeah.
Writing down Patty's. Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Hall. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 597, authorizing the county treasurer to adjust appropriation in various airport accounts, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Hall. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 598, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the ADRC DWD COVID-19 Vaccine Access Grant, Office for the Aging.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Hughes. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 599, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Consolidated Appropriations Act Grant, Office for the Aging.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Kretzer. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 600, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the American Rescue Plan Grant, Office for the Aging.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Hughes. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 601, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Expanding Access to COVID-19 Vaccines via the Aging Network Grant, Office for the Aging.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Kretzer. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 602, authorizing the county treasurer to adjust appropriation in various sheriff department accounts, sheriff's department.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 603, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for insurance reimbursement, sheriff's department.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 604, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Continuum of Care Program Grant Social Services.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call?
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 605, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for youth recreation, Youth Bureau.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call?
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 606, authorizing the county treasurer to adjust appropriation and corresponding revenue for various youth bureau programs, Youth Bureau.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call?
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 607, authorizing the county treasurer to reappropriate 2020 funds for emergency services, Treasurer's Office.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call?
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 608, congratulating Evelyn Cummings on the occasion of her 100th birthday.
Mr. Castine, 4-4.
Please.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, that's a regular, right? I'd like to entertain a motion to waive Rule 13.2. A motion by legislator Timmons, second by legislator Hughes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 13.2.
Resolution 609, approving appointment to the Clinton County Board of Health, Health Department.
Motion legislator Henry, second legislator Kretzer. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, John.
Resolution 610, authorizing contract with CDPH Medical Center, Health Department.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 611, authorizing write-off and chargeback of taxes in the town of Champlain, Treasurer's Office.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 612, authorizing supplemental lease agreement number 11 with the United States of America General Service Administration, Plattsburgh International.
Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Timmons. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 613, authorizing New York State Urban Development Corporation Empire State Development Grant Application and Acceptance, Plattsburgh International.
Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Potiker. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Timmons?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. That will do it for the resolutions. Does anyone else have anything further to come before the legislature? Yes, sir.
With Patty's permission, I'd like to know if there's any way we can discuss doing this money or potentially giving this money to the Battle of Plattsburgh, because her economic development meeting is on the 8th, and they have to know before the 9th. Is there any way we can talk about it tonight?
Well, that's certainly up to the legislature. I would think that, I mean, they did come here at a very late day, but that doesn't mean we can't try to help them out. But I think
We do have a regular session prior to that, on the 8th of September.
Yeah, we'd have a
Finance as well.
talk about it
Well,
now.
they would know.
Could I move the economic development meeting on
Certainly.
a special one?
The reason I brought it up, and it's Patty's committee, needless to say, but bringing it up, I'm in favor. This does bring a lot of development, or a lot of interest into the city of Plattsburgh and Clinton County. It brings a lot of people, and it's always been good for the county and the city. So I thought if we could move it up or discuss it.
well, I would, we can talk about two things. The short answer is probably yes, Bob. But if we handle it through Patty's committee, can Patty's committee get it done by then? And then do it by the 8th? I mean, in fact, they picked the 9th. He's not even sure that the date is the 9th.
There's also a finance on the first of the month.
Maybe,
Finance?
Yeah.
Finance, September.
This says it starts on the 9th, that's why I was going by this.
Yeah, there is a finance committee on the, on September 1.
What do you think about September 1?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, no, go ahead, Joe.
I would just suggest that maybe the day of the finance committee, do we have a way of getting hold of, we can probably get a hold of this person, you know, between now and then they come up with $5,000, then it's a moot point, or if they come up with $3,000, then we're on the hook for 2. So just finding out.
So I could reach out to him prior to the finance meeting if that's appropriate.
When's that committee meeting? When's,
Finance is the first.
The first.
for finance?
Right.
Are you, but you guys aren't going to talk about it in the meantime, or you are? Or are we just gonna talk about it on September 1st? Is that what we're gonna do in finance?
We'll all be here on September
Here's
1st.
how we-
Right, but we don't need, I'm asking, we don't need any preliminary discussion in the committee or whatever before we get there? You don't think?
I don't think so.
Okay, but do you think that they'll have somebody there though to ask questions as far as like how the money exactly?
I suppose we could ask.
Well, and we have done this before with emergency tobacco settlement money, and many of you weren't here for that, but in much less of an emergency than probably this.
So do we have a definition?
Does anybody have any idea?
Yeah, we had
I mean,
that.
think about, for finance, Rob, where, if the legislature decided to do this, where that money would come from. I don't think tobacco's the place. If we go by the, I mean, we have the rule, I don't know.
Do we have any other?
No, if it's something for finance, maybe to think.
I could probably provide you an option by the 1st of September to discuss.
Sounds great.
And then maybe, you know, if we didn't necessarily want to contact him ahead of time, is it possible to authorize up to a certain amount? Authorize up to $5,000, and then whatever they actually need, they think it's
Oh, yeah, we
decided.
can do that.
Okay.
But I like to think the idea, if Michael can give us a suggestion by the 1st on the finance committee. Perfect. Knowing Michael the way I know him, he'll find it.
Well, as you
I
said,
think there's some money left in the legislative salary.
I have confidence in him.
well, it is a great event.
Let's get a new credit card.
This is great, but let's not forget that before we have told people no when they come and do this, and that they need to go through the committees, they need to do that. I mean, we can't say it's okay here, but it's not okay there. We need to be consistent with what we do. Rick?
Were we way below budget on the chamber? I mean, it sounds like chamber money to me.
I believe he's already checked with the chamber and they have said no.
Right.
Well, I think,
Should the chamber decrease because of COVID? Did we get more money than expected?
that might be an option, but I think Bob and Mike may be all right. Let's see what they've got for the options out there, and then we can discuss that. Okay?
I have one more quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any updates on when the Clinton County Jail will be receiving visitors?
I don't know. As you know, I was just there not very long ago, and there was no, I asked that question, and the answer was no, I didn't. And so I would think that the sheriff is following correctional guidelines across the state. I would guess, I don't know this for a fact. So I suppose when,
I could talk to the sheriff and he's probably in.
yeah, we'll be back pretty soon.
Okay, just curious.
No, we'll find out, anything else? Okay, I'll take a motion to go into executive session. Motion by legislator Kretzer, second by legislator Hughes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are headed for executive session.
Mrs. Simon.
None of them in front of me. Yes. I don't know where mine is. I don't have that. I got this whole there. I don't have. I went from 0 to 2. We
Resolution,
had 3 resolutions.
yeah, back page.
Thank you.
Resolution 614, authorizing letter of intent with JDNY Bundle LLC Legislature.
Need a motion? Motion by legislator Hall, second by legislator Waldron. Discussion. All in favor?
Just on discussion, Chairman, that this body has instructed its consultant, Mr. Brown, to have a conversation with the company based on a potential, what would you call that, Counselor?
Language change.
Language change to reflect a quick resale of the property by the developer.
Future quick resale. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Kim, did you start your machine? 'Cause I didn't.
So the machine didn't work on your initial resolutions, could you repeat that?
No, God, no. No, we'd make those up if that happened. Resolution 615, authorizing contract with Architectural and Engineering Design Associates, Legislature.
Motion. Legislator Potaker, second. Legislator Kratzer. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And Resolution 616, authorizing letter of intent with Shooter Systems LP, Legislature.
Motion. Legislator Castine, second. Legislator Hughes. Discussion.
On discussion, I'd like the record to reflect the legislature in discussing this resolution has asked, it's consulted Mr. Brown to include language in the LOI to address a resale of the property.
Any further? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Is that it?
That's it, sir.
Are they looking for a pilot on those?
I am told that one of the two is in fact would come to the IDA.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion Legislator Hall, second Legislator Hughes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.